Julian Cross, a composed entrepreneur in his 40s, stepped into Crestone Trust Bank on a sunny Tuesday afternoon in Atlanta. Sharp in his tailored blue suit and calm as ever, he had no idea that the place where his company had invested millions would soon treat him like an outsider. A threat, even. He came for a high-level business meeting. What he got instead was a crash course in perception, bias, and silent judgment. Julian parked his graphite gray electric BMW i7 in the reserved parking area, where his name was etched on a brass plaque, a small but powerful token of his value to the institution. He adjusted his cuffs, glanced at his reflection in the car window, and proceeded to the bank lobby. Inside, the cool air hummed with the low sound of business chatter and quiet footsteps. The marble floors gleamed under his shoes. He approached the front desk with a polite smile. "Good afternoon," he said. "I'm here for an appointment with VP Richard Crane, Julian Cross." Before the receptionist could respond, a stern voice cut through the lobby. "Do you have an account here, sir?" asked a woman in a crisp navy skirt suit. She had tightly pulled back hair, a clipboard, and a guarded posture. Her nameplate read Paula Jenkins, branch manager. Julian turned toward her calmly. "I'm not here for personal banking. I'm here for a meeting on behalf of ArcPoint Holdings. We're investors." Paula narrowed her eyes. "If you're not conducting customer business, I'm gonna need you to leave the premises." He blinked. "I'm here on business, investment business. I can show you my ID and business card." He extended both. She didn't even glance. "Security will handle this," she said, pulling out her radio. Julian stood still, composed but quietly stunned. He'd been in hundreds of meetings at dozens of firms, yet here, where his company's capital was deeply tied, he was being treated like an intruder. Two security guards approached moments later, one older, stern-faced, the other younger and visibly hesitant. Julian didn't flinch. "I'm Julian Cross, CEO of ArcPoint Holdings," he said in a steady tone. "My firm has a financial stake in this institution. I have a scheduled meeting with your vice president, Richard Crane. You can confirm that." The older guard remained firm. "We were called to escort you out. We can resolve this outside." The younger guard checked his phone quietly, looking conflicted. Before things could escalate further, a door down the hallway opened and VP Richard Crane walked briskly into the lobby, holding a folder. He stopped mid-step when he saw the scene unfolding. "Julian?" Richard said, clearly confused. "What's going on here?" Julian replied simply, "Ask your manager." Richard turned to Paula, who suddenly looked unsure. "You called security?" "On the CEO of our largest investment partner," Richard asked, stunned. Paula opened her mouth but only managed, "I didn't know who he was." "You didn't ask," Richard replied, face tight with disbelief. He gestured to Julian. "Let's go to my office. Paula, stick around, we'll talk after." The meeting with Julian proceeded, but not as originally planned. The agenda shifted. No longer was it about portfolio growth or expansion, it was about trust, image, and accountability. After 20 minutes, Richard stepped out to handle the fallout. When he returned, his face was pale and grim. "She's been terminated," he said quietly, sitting down across from Julian. Julian exhaled. "I didn't ask for that." "I know. But this wasn't just a mistake, it was a liability. She judged you based on appearance alone. That costs more than dollars." Julian nodded slowly. "Accountability matters, but I don't want her life ruined. Just let it be a moment of reflection. For all of us." Unbeknownst to them both, a customer in the lobby had discreetly recorded the entire encounter and uploaded it to social media. The caption read, "Black CEO denied service at his own bank." Within hours, it went viral. Major outlets picked it up. Thousands of comments poured in, some outraged, some reflective, many sharing similar experiences. By the end of the week, Crestone had issued a formal public apology. Customers began withdrawing their accounts. Debates about racial profiling, unconscious bias, and corporate gatekeeping took over online spaces. Julian didn't chase the media frenzy. He declined interviews, avoided statements. He wasn't interested in headlines. He was interested in solutions. But one night he received an email that pierced through the silence. It read, "Mr. Cross, I saw the video. I have a 10-year-old biracial son. He's smart, kind, and full of light, but I worry every day that someone will see him the way that manager saw you, as a problem before a person. Thank you for staying calm. Thank you for standing your ground. You reminded me that dignity can change more than outrage ever will. Clara D." Julian stared at the email for a long while. Then he forwarded it to Richard Crane with a single line, "This is why it matters." Over the next few weeks, Julian worked behind the scenes with Crestone. Together, they launched Grounded Futures, a $20 million fund exclusively for minority-led startups, particularly those with little access to traditional venture capital. There were no press releases, no big speeches, just quiet, deliberate change. Months later, Julian finally stepped on stage at a leadership summit in San Francisco. The crowd, filled with executives, entrepreneurs, and future business leaders, leaned forward in anticipation. He didn't open with numbers. He didn't lead with strategy. He told the story. "I didn't walk into that bank to prove a point," he said. "I walked in for a meeting, but someone else decided my story before I opened my mouth." A hushed silence settled over the auditorium. "Respect," he continued, "shouldn't come with a dress code. Belonging shouldn't come with a checklist. Before anyone sees your resume, your investment history, or your company's value, they see you, or who they think you are." He let that sink in before he added, "And when they choose wrongly, silence isn't the answer." He looked directly into the crowd. "We all carry bias, but we also carry power. Whether you're a leader, a gatekeeper, or just a bystander, when you see unfairness, speak. When you see someone dismissed, intervene. And when you hold the door, hold it wide enough for someone else to walk through too." He finished with a quote, not from a book or a report, but from a letter he'd once written to his future son. "One day, you'll ask me why I didn't stay silent, and I'll tell you, because silence has never changed anything."